Hi, I'm Mehul here with DevExpress. In this video, you're going to see the new ASP.NET docking suite that we're introducing in DExperience 2011 Volume 1. The docking suite is fantastic because you can lay out your ASP.NET web pages with widgets. Now these widgets are draggable and they have zones you can drop them into. In fact, you get a key benefit using our ASP.NET docking suite that you can't find anywhere else, which allows you to use them as standalone controls. Now to see what I mean, let's take a look. New in the 2011 Volume 1 release, we're introducing an ASP.NET docking suite. It's called the aspx docking. It will be part of the ASP Experience suite. Now, let me launch Demo Center and the local demo for the ASP.NET docking, and I'll take you through some of the awesome features. Now, the aspx docking essentially gives you a way to let your end users lay out on the page by having widgets and movable and dockable panels. So there are three main controls within the docking suite. So it's not one single control, but it's actually made up of three main controls: an aspx dock panel, an aspx dock zone, and an aspx dock manager. So let's start with the aspx dock panel. The aspx dock panel is a control which can contain its content. For example, this is a dock panel that has links to folders like inbox, outbox, sent, and so forth. And this can be dragged among zones. And zones is another control. So for example, I'm dragging this dock panel into this other zone from top, right, or bottom. Now, an aspx dock panel can be dragged and dropped into a zone, or it can stay in a floated state like this one here that isn't dropped into any zone, but I could drop it if I wish, or leave it in a floated state. So for example, if I want to put it back in a floated state, I'll simply double click on the header here, and then I can move it back around. Now, the dock zones is simply a container for the dock panel so that I can define where the dock panel can be docked. And finally, we have the aspx dock manager. Now, this is a non-visual control which allows you as a developer to take a centralized layout control and handle all the events for panels and zones that are present on the page. So for example, I can show multiple items here, or when I click them, they're posted back. And I can also move around these items and show the scroll bars if they're necessary. Now, a key advantage of our ASP.NET docking suite is that it is not a single control. This is not one control. This is actually made up of those three controls that I mentioned. And this gives you a key benefit that the panels, zones, and manager can lie on different physical pages. Therefore, you can have a page with a panel and a manager, and then have a master page that can contain a zone, so that a user control can be instantiated inside this page and contain another panel. So this gives you the freedom to really create a flexible layout system that can be customized. So let's take a look at some of its other features. A dock zone can have forbidden zones. For example, this panel is not allowed to be docked into any zone, as you can tell from this colors. Now, the colors and styles can be customized as well. So for example, here we've chosen green and red. Green to signify that this panel can be docked into this zone, but it can't be docked into any of these zones. So example, you can see here that it stays in a floated state. But if I double click back on it, you can see that it goes back into the zone that it's allowed into. So for example, this can't go up here, but this can go into any zone. So that if I put this back here, it'll automatically readjust and it'll move as necessary. Now, as you can see, this forbidden zones feature allows you to let your end users know where certain items can be dragged and docked to give you that full capability to control the layout. Now, as with most of our ASP.NET controls, you also have the capability to do callbacks that are built right within our control. So for example, here I have a dock panel and a dock zone. So when I move it from this current dock zone, which shows the employees, and move it to the design department, it does a callback and loads up the pictures for the employees related to the design department, and same for when I move it back to the development department. Now, as with most of our ASP.NET controls, we give you several client-side events that you can hook into and react to if necessary. So for example, if I close this panel or show that again or dock it and move it, and for each event you have the capability to hook into this. So for example, we have after dock, before dock, panel close, end dragging, and many more. And you can react to this client-side API as well. We can change the individual dock panel's visibility. For example, here I can change the visible index to 1, and it automatically updates it. Now, you're not limited to just client-side. You also have server-side functionality as well. This allows you to also customize the content as well as the dock panels themselves from the server side. And finally, you can also set a runtime layout management. So for example, if you want to allow your end users, you can let them change the layout. So when they click Edit Layout, they'll get this very nice layout screen that allows them to change the order. So for example, if I'd rather put these items here, I can save it, and at runtime, the dock zones have been changed. Now, if they ever mess it up, they can also easily restore the initial layout and go back to the original. So as you can see, the aspx docking suite gives you a lot of flexibility for layout customization, as well as styling and client-side events. Now, as you saw, the ASP.NET Docking Suite provides you with 3 main parts that are actually standalone controls, which means you can lay them out on several different pages. And you have other options like forbidden zones, as well as changing the layout at runtime. Thanks for watching.